Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight for our bi-weekly guided meditation and Dharma talk. Today is May 15th, 2023. I am Vladimir. I'm the founder of the Blue Lotus Meditation and Mindfulness Center here in central Minnesota in Brainerd. If anybody's familiar with that, about 2 hours north of Minneapolis, if you're familiar with that area. Wonderful. If not, now you know where we are. You can come by and visit us anytime you like. Always welcome. Tonight's topic will be about forgiveness. Forgiving ourselves so that we may learn to forgive others. Forgiveness is such an act of compassion towards ourselves and towards others. Right? It allows us to grow, allows us to move forward in our lives with peace and joy and harmony and balance within us. And many religions talk about forgiveness and the wonderful ability that it has to just strengthen bonds between people as well. So forgiveness is a very important component, right? An act that we can all do. And so for tonight's guided meditation portion, it's certainly going to be on forgiveness. And so go ahead and get in your favorite comfortable position for your guided meditations. You're welcome to close your eyes or keep them slightly open with a soft focus if you choose. Perhaps you like laying down on your back, and that's just as wonderful as well. Whatever works best for you. There's no right or wrong way. Go ahead and take a nice deep inhalation through your nose. Pause. And slowly exhale. Allow your spine to lift and your shoulders to soften. And breathe in. Pause. And breathe out. And soften your belly as you continue settling in. You're allowed to make those adjustments as well as we go along. And tonight we'll be focusing again on forgiveness. And it would be delightful to just allow yourself the relaxation that's needed in order for you to change things in your life that you desire. And complete relaxation is impossible when you hold grudges. And sometimes it's hard to even imagine forgiving those who may have wronged you in some way. But this is a necessary step in the progression of personal achievement. Go ahead and say to yourself, I'm ready to take the steps necessary towards becoming the best version of myself. It may seem daunting to forgive people in instances of your past that hurt you. But it may not be as hard as you are envisioning. Imagine a young child holding a glass of milk. And their small hands couldn't quite grasp the cup fully. And the milk spills on the floor, and the glass breaks. And this upsets you because milk may be expensive. And perhaps the cup had some sentimental value. Say that this upsets you very much, and you show your anger. And you hold a small grudge towards this child for breaking this precious glass. Now, when you give the child a glass of milk, you will not trust them to hold it, and anxiety will become present in the child because they do not feel trusted. And anxiety will build in you as well because you fear many more things will be broken or spilled. And as a result, the child may actually become more likely to drop things because that is the image you are manifesting of them. You will also harbor anxiety because you were unable to let go of this incident. And it will be a recurring thought each and every time they use a glass. Now imagine, again, that same child holding a glass of milk. Their small hands quiver, and they drop the cup, breaking it and spilling milk everywhere. But this time, you are not upset in the slightest, and you forgive them. Subsequently, the child runs to grab a broom and some paper towels to help you clean up. They are helping you fix this little mishap. They sense kindness in you, and they learn how to take action when something goes wrong. When they feel guilty for the circumstance, their ability to help is halted. The child is then less likely to understand how to address incoming issues because everyone was calm, relaxed, and in a state of pre-forgiveness. They feel trusted, and they can trust you to help when mistakes happen. That's what was needed to accomplish in order to create a peaceful world for everyone. The ability to pre-forgive each other, to allow a state of openness so that we may address issues that arise with calm and a relaxed outlook, thus aiding in a thorough repair and the ability to move forward and trust others. Forgiveness allows trust, and trusting builds balance, kindness, and forgiveness. Breathe in. Pause. And slowly exhale. Go ahead and open your eyes and begin to bring awareness to your surroundings before you decide to move about. We all make mistakes, right? And if everyone held a grudge for every mistake that we made, how hard would our lives be? We would be worried, right? Somebody doesn't trust me, always looking over my shoulder. Or the other way around. You're always looking over somebody else's shoulder because of a mistake that they made. That builds anxiety for both. So when we learn to forgive ourselves, we are also learning to forgive others. And when we learn to forgive others, we learn to forgive ourselves. Think of a ship. This is a sailing vessel, not a steamship. It's got sails. It's got to have those sails. And like a ship sailing to a faraway destination, it's just like our life, right? On a journey to someplace. We may be able to control the sails a little bit, right? We can't direct the wind, but we can direct our path, right? Our trajectory a little bit, but we're still dependent on the wind. But what happens to the ship? If that anchor is deployed while we're en route, not while we're at a port, but in the open sea, think about what happens. Stop sailing forward, right? can maybe only travel as far as that anchor chain, may lead, right? And it can probably only go around in a circle, right? Not really going anywhere, just around in a circle, depending on the wind. Not really accomplishing anything, not seeing the new sights or making new discoveries, just being stagnant where it is. And so holding on to resentment or anger or pain or a grudge towards yourself or towards others, that could be your anchor. And you could only travel as far as that lead or that chain will let you. Think about the possibilities of where you may journey to if you let go of grudges. Don't hold on to past transgressions or past wrongs that you have done to yourself or perhaps even others have done to you. Excuse me. The word forgive or forgiveness, let's think about what we kind of mean by that, though. An intentional decision to let go of resentment or anger. And that's a key phrase, a key understanding. It's intentional. It's a conscious decision by you to let go of any resentment or anger or past trespass that perhaps someone has done to you. Maybe even a more succinct way, simply to let go. Forgiveness is just letting go of that anchor. So you can sail. So someone else may sail. When you hold on to that grudge, someone else knows that too. If it's about them. And then they can't develop either. So why forgiveness? Why do we forgive? And again, it's a conscious and deliberate act of compassion. And it's an important understanding. When we talk about the second noble truth, right? Suffering is in the world. And part of our practice is to help ease the suffering that we experience and that others experience. Being compassionate and empathetic towards ourselves and others is vital for that easing of suffering. And so it's necessary because it does. It allows us to nurture empathy and well-being. People aren't going to be well if they're anxious all the time, worried that they're going to do something and you will get upset. Or you are anxious because somebody else has done something and you don't want to perhaps let go of what that transgression was. That makes anxiety for you as well. That does not promote well-being. As a result, having that compassion towards others and ourselves releases those negative feelings. And when we release the negativity, the hurt, and the anger What do you think fills that? Inner peace, balance. What else is there? Joy. The positive attributes, the positive qualities that we all have, but maybe aren't truly experiencing because we are anchored in a grudge. And we work towards inner peace. We're also working towards relieving suffering for ourselves and others. And that's what the Dharma is about. Easing suffering for ourselves and others. And so how do we know? How do we recognize what our anchor could be? The Buddha describes holding on to anger is like grasping that hot coal, right, with the intent of throwing it at someone else. Because you want them to know that you're angry, right? You're angry. You want them to know that. So I'm going to hold, because this anger is in this hot coal. So holding on to anger is like grasping onto that hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. But you are the one that gets burned. So recognize our anger, our anchor, what is holding us. Sayings like, remember when you said this about me? Remember when you took this from me? Remember when you made me angry? So remember when is a good statement to just kind of begin. Where's our anchor found? That certainly is going to depend on the tone, correct? Right. Remembering when could be a positive thing, but again, we're focusing on our anger, resentment, and grudges. Or I'm no good at. That's another one. I'm no good at. That's holding on to something. That could be anger. I'm no good at relationships. I'm no good at dealing with others. There can be some resentment in that. And that can build up to be angry as well. Holding a grudge to yourself, about yourself. I'm no good at this. Or another one. It was my fault. It's all my fault. When we always take a blame sometimes, that can build up anxiety. That can cause, again, grudges and anger within inside us. So, those are just a few ways to perhaps identify some of your angers. Maybe you can say those to yourself when it comes time to someone else. But you can have your own. Everybody's different. You may have your own way of holding a grudge or saying something to someone. But it's also important now, how do we find ways to forgive? Forgiving ourselves and forgiving others. And we have to remember, though, that forgiveness, like acceptance, it's not condoning or minimizing that action. It's just recognizing it, forgiving it. Remembering, or maybe even saying to yourself, I'll try better next time. That's very forgiving. You recognize a mistake in yourself, perhaps, or even in others. I will try better next time. It's a very optimistic outlook. Very optimistic perspective. I'll try better next time. In realizing that we're all human, we all make mistakes. I make mistakes, you make mistakes, kids make mistakes. It happens. And so forgiving ourselves for making mistakes, it's a way to forgive. We all make mistakes. Or how may I improve? We all make mistakes, so how may I improve? Good follow-up. Because when we forgive ourselves or others, realizing that a mistake was made, we want to find ways that we can improve so that does not happen again. That's releasing our anchor, most definitely. How may I improve? That sets you back on your journey. Or maybe it sets someone else on their journey as well. Letting them know, I love you. That's a wonderful way to show forgiveness. I love you. Very powerful words. Easing suffering, right? Second noble truth again, right? There's suffering in the world, in the whole center of Dharma is easing suffering. And I love you is a wonderful way to help ease someone's suffering. Provides reassurance, comfort, security, belonging. So many of those wonderful feelings. And lastly, I love myself. We also have to love ourselves and be forgiving of ourselves. I'll try better next time. I'm human. I make mistakes. How may I improve? And I love myself for that possibility or that openness to try to improve. Because when we love ourselves, we can easily love others with openness. And when we love others with openness, forgiveness comes naturally. And then with forgiveness, compassion, and empathy towards all living beings. I love myself and I love you. Wonderful, wonderful ways to forgive. So practice that. Give that a try. If there's someone in your life that maybe you're holding that grudge onto, but you know deep down that you love them, or even right at the surface, right? It doesn't have to be all the way down. It doesn't have to be buried. Let them know. Your relationship will change, and your relationship with yourself will change. Your suffering will be eased. Our next Dharma talk will be on May 29th. So in 2 more weeks. We have 3 this month. May is a wonderful month. There are 3 Mondays, so 3 Dharma talks for this month. So Monday, May 29th at 6 p.m. Central Time. Also, our first silent retreat of the season, right? It will be held at our center on May 28th. So from about 7:30, 8 o'clock, right? 8 o'clock we begin the bells until about 4:30 or so. And you're welcome to stay as the whole time or, whatever suits you best. You want to stay half a day, you stay half a day. Stay for a couple hours, you stay for a couple hours. It's a wonderful way to just detox from electronics, from work, connecting back to nature, recentering yourself. So silent retreats are wonderful. And they're not just about sitting there quietly for, hours on end. We do have a nice little schedule with walking meditations and journaling meditations and reading meditations and so forth. And if you're not able to attend that, that's perfectly fine. We also have our wonderful weekly sanghas. Every week, our healing sangha, veteran sangha, new beginnings, rainbow, welcoming, and teen sanghas. So just visit our website, register. There is never a fee, never a cost, or anything that we do. You just have to register, so I know you're coming, and that's about it. And I am always happy to see everyone with us, joining us from wherever you are. And with that, my friends, I wish you all an evening of peace, ease, and well-being.